Welcome to the deep dive. We sift through sources, notes, all sorts of research, really, to bring you the key takeaways. Today, we're plunging into something called Weighted Shortest Job First. You might see it as WSJF. Our mission, to unpack what it is, figure out how it actually works, and, see why it's such a valuable tool, especially for making smart decisions in product development, but maybe even beyond that. And all our insights today are drawn from a really practical guide on the topic.
Yeah, and if you've ever stared at a huge list of tasks and just felt completely stuck, overwhelmed, wondering where on earth to start, that feeling is pretty universal, right? Whether you're building software or just trying to manage your week, what we're looking at today, WSJF, it offers a systematic way, grounded in economics, to kind of cut through that noise. It helps you focus on what actually delivers real, tangible value.
Okay, let's unpack that then. From the very beginning, what is WSJF exactly? I get that it's a big deal in agile and lean product development circles.
That's right. That's its home turf. Its core purpose, really, is prioritizing work to maximize the economic value you deliver in the shortest time possible. Think of it as a disciplined way to what to build next. It forces you to weigh, the cost of delaying something against how much effort it takes to actually do it. It's fundamentally about being smart with your team's time and resources.
Okay, maximizing value per unit of effort. So how do we actually capture that? Is there a formula, a core calculation?
There is, yeah. And it's surprisingly straightforward. The formula is WSJF equals the cost of delay.
Right.
People often just say COD divided by the job size.
Ah, okay. A ratio. Cost of delay divided by job size. Let's break those down then. What exactly is cost of delay? And how do we pin down job size?
Good questions. So cost of delay, or CUD, it's basically your best estimate of the value you lose, business value, customer value per unit of time if a feature or task gets delayed. It's like putting a price tag on waiting. If a new feature could bring in, say, 10 grand a week, delaying it a week costs you 10 grand. It makes that invisible cost visible. And job size, that's your estimate of the effort needed. But, and this is key, it's usually relative effort, not precise hours. Teams often use things like story points or maybe rough time estimates like days or even t-shirt sizes, small, medium, large. The idea is to keep it lightweight, comparative.
Right, relative. So why WSJF then? What's the real power here beyond just, doing the math? It sounds like it pushes you to grab that low-hanging fruit first, high-impact, low-effort stuff.
It definitely does that. Maximizing ROI is part of it.
Right.
But I think the deeper insight is how it helps eliminate those really painful, often emotional debates about what's most important. Those meetings, right? Where everyone thinks their thing's the top priority. WSJF kind of cuts through that by bringing in the shared economic lens. It replaces gut feelings, or frankly, who shouts loudest, with a number everyone can sort of agree on, or at least discuss rationally. And what's fascinating is how it shifts the conversation. It's not just what's important, but what's most valuable for the effort required. Getting the biggest bang for your buck, essentially.
Okay, we've got the why and the bits of the formula, but the practical question is, how do I actually do this? Where do you start with the calculation? Let's say step one, estimating that cost of delay.
Right, estimating COBIT. Usually you break it down into 3 parts and score them relatively. First, there's user or business value. Pretty straightforward. How much value does this thing deliver? More revenue, better retention, market share. Second is time criticality. Is there a hard deadline? A market window that's closing, maybe a regulatory change. This captures the urgency aspect. And third, risk reduction or opportunity enablement. Does doing this reduce some big technical debt or business risk? Or maybe it unlocks a whole bunch of other valuable features later on. So you give each of these a score, often on a simple scale, like 1 to 10, maybe Fibonacci-like story points, and then you just add them up. That's your total COD score. It captures that multifaceted impact of delay.
Gotcha. So cost of delay isn't just dollars and cents, it's also urgency, risk, future potential. That's a really important nuance. Okay, so we've quantified the cost of waiting. Now the other side. Step 2, estimating the job size. How do we tackle that part?
Exactly. COD is holistic. For job size, again, it's about your best relative guess. How big is this compared to other things? Use whatever your team normally uses. Story points are common. The key really is don't get lost trying to be perfectly precise. No need for detailed hour-by-hour breakdowns. Keep it relatively quick, collaborative. And then step 3 is just the division. You divide the total cost of delay score by that job size score. And the rule is simple. The higher the final WSJF number, the higher the priority. More value per unit of effort. It's quite elegant, actually.
let's make it concrete. Maybe an example. So we have two features we're considering. Feature A, let's say user value is 8, time criticality 6, risk reduction 4, total code is 18. And the job size estimate is 6 points. So WSJF is 18 divided by 6. That's 3.0. Okay, now feature B, maybe higher value, user value 10, time criticality 10, risk reduction 5, COD is 25, but it's bigger. Job size is 10 points. WSJF is 25 divided by 10, 2.5.
Yeah, and look at that. That's the interesting part, isn't it? Feature B looks more valuable on the surface. Its code D is 25 versus 18. But feature A actually has the higher WSJF score, 3.0 versus 2.5. So according to WSJS, you should tackle feature A first. It gives you more value for the effort you put in sooner. And this raises that important question, doesn't it? How often do we just chase the biggest perceived value, ignoring the effort side of the equation? It really forces a different kind of thinking.
It really does. Okay, let's try another one, maybe more real-world-ish. Say a new onboarding flow for an app. Let's estimate delaying it costs $20,000 a week in lost signups, and the engineering team figures it's about, say, 40 story points of work. So WSJF is 20,000 divided by 40. That's 500. Okay, now compare that to maybe fixing a critical bug. The cost of delay isn't as high, maybe $5,000 a week in support costs or user frustration, but it's much quicker to fix, only 10 points. So WSJF is 5,000 divided by 10, which is also 500.
Exactly. And in that case, where the scores are identical, well, that's where WSJF shows its limits in a good way. It doesn't give you the single answer. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is where other factors have to come in. Are there dependencies? What's the team's current capacity or skill set? Does one align better with a strategic goal that isn't easily quantified? WSJF gives you a powerful data point, a starting point for the conversation, but it's a tool to inform judgment, not replace it entirely. It informs, it doesn't dictate.
That makes sense. It's a guide, not an oracle. So we've seen how it works, the math, the nuances. But when should people listening actually think, okay, now's the time to use WSJF? When is it most useful?
Well, you should definitely think about it anytime you've got, a backlog full of competing priorities and you need a more objective way to sort them out. It's fantastic for bringing that structured economic thinking into planning, whether that's planning your next 2-week sprint or maybe a whole quarter's roadmap, or even prioritizing big initiatives across different teams at the portfolio level. And it fits really naturally if you're already in an agile world, like using Scrum or SAFe, where relative estimation is already a thing.
Right, bring some structure to the chaos. But like any method, I bet there are ways to mess it up. Are there common mistakes people make when they try to implement WSJF? What should you watch out for?
Oh, absolutely. 3 big ones tend to pop up. First is overestimating precision. People get really bogged down trying to calculate COD down to the last dollar or get the job size perfect. Remember, these are relative estimates. Their value is in comparison and starking discussion, not in being accounting level accurate. Keep it somewhat rough. Second mistake, ignoring the qualitative stuff. WCF gives you a number, but it doesn't know everything. You still need team wisdom, strategic context, user feedback. Use the score as input, but don't blindly follow it if common sense screams otherwise. And third, related to the first point, is using absolute effort. Trying to estimate in exact hours instead of relative points often just slows things down and adds false precision. Stick to relative sizing. Ultimately, it's a guide. It's meant to facilitate a better conversation about priorities, give everyone a common language, and maybe get past those highest paid person's opinion decisions.
Okay, so wrapping this up. Weighted shortest job verse, WSJF, it really helps focus priorities by looking squarely at impact versus effort. It gives teams a shared kind of economic language to talk about what really matters most right now, and hopefully helps break through some of that decision paralysis we all feel sometimes. We definitely encourage you listening to think about how you might apply this, even just the concept, maybe in your backlog, grooming, roadmap planning, or even bigger strategic choices.
Yeah, and just a final thought to leave you with. The sources consistently describe WSJF as simple, powerful, and surprisingly effective. So how might applying this core idea, thinking about value per unit of effort, even if you do it informally, how might that change your own personal prioritization? Not just for work, but maybe for, deciding what to tackle around the house this weekend, or even setting your longer-term life goals. Something to chew on. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and share it, with others who might benefit too. To learn more about product management and digital marketing, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update.